Hey everybody, welcome to Bad Wrench Automotive. Okay, so this is going to be an all-encompassing sensors for your Kia engine if you have the 2.0. We're going to cover where all these sensors are. I will cover some of the tools you may need. Most of them are just going to be hand tools, so nothing too special. And what we're going to look at is the majority of the sensors on the engine that could potentially go bad. We'll start with some of the easier ones and then we'll work into the more difficult ones. But just know these are the majority of the sensors that will go bad on an engine that you will need to replace. Some of them are really easy to get to. Some of them are more difficult. When we get down to the ones that are more difficult, I'll do a little bit more explaining on how to get in there and how to do them. All right, so let's start right here. On top, once we've removed our cover, when there's a cover, that's what they do nowadays. Once you take that cover off, you're going to notice one right here. This is a camshaft actuator for variable valve timing, right there. You will have one on this side and one back here. This wire actually runs down to the other one. So if you run your hand down the back, you'll feel it pretty much right here where my finger is. I'm touching the top of it. So you will also have a timing position sensor right here. This one is pretty easy to get to. This requires some torque bits, but the wire comes around the side and plugs in right here. So if you're having issues with timing, this is one of the 3 timing that you will have. I'm going to cover this one as a bonus. This is the ground, guys. If this ground starts looking corroded or brittle in any way, shape, or form, replace that. That has been known to cause fires in these Kias. So make sure you guys check your grounds when you're doing your oil changes. Make sure those don't start getting corroded. As we move along the side of the engine, I'm going to come back because there is an important one behind this intake. I'm going to cover that at the end. That is one of the most difficult ones to do. As we come around on top here, we have more timing sensors. We have 2, one for each camshaft on the tail end. So this is the back side of the motor. Your transmission is down here. This is a timing. This is a timing, one for each cam. The one in the front is supposed to be able to do the crankshaft. Now, there's probably going to be another sensor down below, really close to the harmonic balancer. That's going to be more important in that setup. So just know that that's not all the sensors, but that is a good start. Where we go, back here we have our Upstream O2 sensor. This one is very easy to reach on a Kia engine. Plugs in right here, plugs in right there, and easy to access with a socket. We can easily change that O2 sensor out. So that one, very simple. Next, we have our temp sensor. So our temp sensor is actually screwed into a aluminum housing for our thermostat that is also on the driver's side here. You'll unplug the connector right below my light. In fact, I'm touching it right there. And the sensor screws into that pipe. On this deal, I would suggest removing the battery to give you more room. So undo your battery, pull your battery, get that out of the way. And you can do that by unloosening that, and then taking that bolt down there off. So that's the bolt down there to hold your battery in. Once you pull your battery out of the way, you can easily access that temp sensor. So if you have issues with temp, that's the one you're going to go for. Next, we're going to go for throttle body. Is pretty easy. If you guys have a throttle position sensor go bad, that's just replacing your throttle body. That's 4 bolts along there. Remove this hose clamp for the upper air box. Pull that air box out of the way after you remove this hose. And you can replace the throttle body real easy. One connector. Very simple. This one won't take you more than probably 10-15 minutes to change out. So very simple. Now for the one that everyone wants to know how to change. The one that is the most problematic and has a service bulletin to it, guys. Kia is backlogged with these because what's happening is the sensor's failing, oil is running into the connector and it's shorting it out. So if you guys have issues with oil pressure at all, go for this sensor. There's two ways to access this. It is behind this intake. You either pull the intake, pull all of your tubing, and take the intake out, or you access it from down below. You remove your big cover underneath there, and you reach up. There is a metal bracket that supports the bottom side of this intake. Remove that bracket with the 4 bolts. I believe they are 10 millimeter bolts that hold it in place. You will then reach up inside and it'll sit behind your AC clutch. So you have your AC compressor right there. The clutch is on this side, but it's on this back side of this compressor and it's located inside the block. You will need a 15/16 socket in order to do it because it is a 24 millimeter socket. So if you don't have the 24, you can use the 15/16 and it will work. Once you break that loose, it'll thread, the threads will turn out. The hardest part is going to be removing that connector. But guys, these are all the major sensors on a Kia engine. Now, at some point, I'll do a separate video that shows you guys how to get in there at that oil pressure sensor. I will be doing ours in a separate video because there is a recall bulletin on it. The recall bulletin is basically the fact that it leaks oil into the connector, shorting it out, causing the light to come on, and having problems with the engine. This does a bunch of funky things to the engine and can cause more problems. Oftentimes, the service bulletins are good for the dealers, but at the same time, if you take it in and it doesn't fall under it, they overcharge you to replace this sensor. This sensor is less than 20 bucks. You can do it yourself. Drive your car up on ramps, remove that bottom splash shield, pull that little bracket, and it'll be right up there. I will show you guys that one separately when I get a new sensor for this car, and I will be doing this repair. But I wanted to do a full encompassing video on these sensors so you guys knew where they were. The actuators, most people don't know where the actuators are and don't always know when they start going bad. If you notice your engine ticking really loud, you might have timing issues. That's what this was doing. On cold start, it would tick really loud. When we took it in, we found that the tensioner for the timing chain had collapsed, meaning it wasn't providing proper tension. If that chain would have jumped, it would have destroyed this engine. Luckily, we caught it before it happened. So, guys, there's a lot to know on these things. This is just some of the sensor issues you guys may have. If you guys like this content, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you get notified when I drop new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.